Hello, my name is Sara. I am a second year student here in TAMK. I study interactive media program and...
Hi everyone, my name is Veera Jokitalo and I am also a student here in TAMK and I'm studying in the Fine Art program, also second year. And we are doing this
presentation about illustration.
Yes. We're just gonna quickly go through the main points. So of course we're gonna introduce what is illustration, and then we're gonna briefly go through a little bit about the history of it, and then different forms. There are different forms, different purposes for illustration, different fields, and then of course there are different kinds of techniques which are used to make them. And then maybe most practical for everybody to know what kind of work opportunities there are for illustrators.
Yes, and then we go into the conclusion of this presentation.
So, first of all, what is illustration? There are a few ways we have gathered here that describes what an illustration is or could be, and it could be a picture or an image that is used to decorate or clarify content. It is a decoration for content, or the visual explanation of content. Or then it can be an interpretation of printed or digital media. And it's usually made to clarify, visualize, or make content more user-friendly. So about the history of illustrations. Well, actually the word illustrations comes from the word illuminations. And illuminations were the illustrations used in codices, which are the ancestors of the modern books. So the very first books there are ever been made were filled with illuminations, not illustrations.
So now for the different forms of illustrating. Illustrations can be used in every kind of platform, from children's book illustrations to scientific and technical illustrations. Ever since we are born, we are basically surrounded by them. Since the start of the information era, illustrations have played a big part in portraying information in both digital and printed media, still keeping the original purpose of visualizing storylines, now also in digital form in games as well as books. And now for just a few examples with pictures, and then I go through briefly about more in-depth definitions of different kind of illustrations. So these are story-driven illustrations. For example, there is The Last Guardian by Fumito Ueda, which is on the left-hand side. It is game. It is illustration from a game. And on the right side, there is Where the Wild Things Are by Maurice Sendak, a really popular children's book. And then there is scientific illustrations. For example, on the left side, Goat Head Anatomy by Alice Rosen, and on the right side, Botanical Illustrations by Margaret Flockton. Technical illustrations are really useful to clarify information, and usually they try to simplify a lot of stuff. So here we have examples of How to Wash Hands by creativefabrica.com and Chair Assembly Instructions by templeandwebster.com. Additional forms of illustration are, for example, concept art, children's book illustrations, comics and graphic novels, packaging, books and publications, advertisement, branding and logos.
And then more about the different kinds of techniques for illustration. So, well, the most known probably and the oldest of all the technique styles are the traditional styles. And the traditional styles basically mean paper-based techniques. So charcoal, pencil, paints, ink, etching, and woodblock prints could be examples of traditional style paper-based techniques illustrations. And then, which are getting more popular today, are the modern style techniques, which means digital-based techniques. These could be 2D and 3D software. Examples could be Adobe Photoshop, Autodesk 3ds Max, which are used for vector graphics and freehand digital illustration. And work opportunities, what could illustrators do? Well, they could work in advertisement, making posters, press, and storyboards, publishing in books, corporate work, which means could be catalogs and brochures, editorial, magazines, newspapers, comics, and fashion forecasting, merchandise, greeting cards, calendars, t-shirts, and so on, and then multimedia, which is probably the most rising and most popular one today. I would guess multimedia, which would be TV, film, computer games, websites, apps, and animation.
So basically, no matter what kind of art you're into, you can always have a way of going to work as an illustrator. So in conclusion, what we kind of talked here today is a little bit about what even is illustrating, and just a brief history of it, different kind of forms of illustrating, the different kind of techniques and work opportunities. And now we would like to ask you a question that you can just think about for a couple of minutes. What kind of illustrations would you like to create? And now for just a little bit of light fun for here, we gathered this fun fact for you, which is that 38.9% of all graphic designers / illustrators are women, while the majority of 56.3% are men. So make of that what you will. And now for the last thing, we have a nice picture of a really known good illustrator, Dr. Seuss. Today you are you, that is truer than true. There is no one alive who is youer than you.
Thank you everyone. Thank you everyone for listening.
Yes, thank you.